The night started like any other. My wife Claire had invited her business partner Brooke to a formal networking dinner. I had expected polite conversation, handshakes, small talk, the usual corporate pleasantries. What I didn't expect was to be made the butt of a joke in front of an audience of 50 people. Brooke had that smug smile, the kind that immediately sets off alarms in my head. "Oh, Ryan," she said to the group in that over-the-top tone meant to embarrass me. "You must have known Claire spends more time with me than with you lately." Laughter bubbled around the table. I could feel the heat rise in my chest, not from anger, but from awareness. I knew exactly what was happening. She was trying to make me look foolish, to put me in my place while subtly elevating herself. My name is Ryan, and I've always been observant, especially when it comes to people who underestimate me. Claire and I have been married for 5 years, and I've learned one thing about relationships and business. Confidence and calm perception matter more than immediate reaction. Brooke wanted attention, wanted control, wanted to manipulate the room into thinking I was weak, irrelevant, even laughable. But she underestimated one thing. I don't react without knowing the full picture. I smiled politely, leaning back slightly in my chair, letting the laughter wash over me without participating. I watched her, noticing the little tells, the slight tension in her hands, the way her eyes darted whenever Claire spoke, the exaggerated gestures meant to distract. Every move she made was a signal of insecurity disguised as superiority. That's when I realized this wasn't just about me. It was about her need to dominate, to feel smarter in front of others, to make herself seem powerful by putting me down. Instead of responding, I observed the reactions around the table. Most were polite smiles, some stifled chuckles, a few exchanged glances that I interpreted as confusion. Clearly, not everyone bought into Brooke's performance, and that was my advantage. I let her play her little game, quietly, calmly, while preparing to turn the situation around, without a single confrontational word. As the evening progressed, Brooke's attempts became bolder. She made sly comments about my supposed lack of involvement in Claire's business, implying that I was passive, uninformed, even irrelevant. I noticed the subtle smirk she gave when she thought she had scored points, the way she leaned toward Claire as if to seek validation, but I didn't respond. I let her unravel in her own arrogance. I had already pieced together a few details before this dinner. Small remarks Claire had made, hints about Brooke's competitive streak, and a pattern of overconfidence when she was around influential people. I realized that her strategy relied on assumptions, that I would react emotionally, that I would be embarrassed, that I would hand her the satisfaction she craved. She didn't count on observation, patience, or quiet intelligence. Then came the moment of subtle brilliance. I allowed a small, seemingly innocent question to escape my lips, loud enough for Brooke to hear. "Brooke, have you considered that the data Claire shared last week might change your perspective on this proposal?" Her confident smile faltered, the smug tone of superiority slipping. She hadn't expected me to be informed, to notice the details she had overlooked while trying to demean me. The room fell into an almost imperceptible pause. I could see the realization dawning in her eyes. I continued with calm, steady conversation, asking pointed questions that subtly highlighted Brooke's gaps in knowledge. Each question was casual, almost conversational, but perfectly timed to expose the truth. Her overconfidence began to crumble, and the laughter that was supposed to be at my expense started turning awkward, hesitant. People began noticing the disparity between her performance and mine, The joke she thought she was playing on me was shifting, slowly, unmistakably, back onto her. Claire watched quietly, a mixture of amusement and pride in her eyes. She had known Brooke's tendencies, and she had trusted me to handle the situation without drama. I was careful not to gloat, not to mock, but to maintain composure while letting the natural outcome of her own behavior reveal the truth. In that room, in front of everyone, Brooke's attempt to elevate herself at my expense was unraveling, and I had not lifted a finger to force it. By the time dessert arrived, the atmosphere at the table had completely shifted. Brooke's smugness had melted into forced smiles, and the subtle tension she had tried to create had reversed. The very audience she intended to impress now quietly questioned her authority, her confidence, and her assumptions, all without a single raised voice from me. Claire leaned toward me slightly, whispering with a smile, "Well played." I nodded subtly, keeping my composure. The satisfaction wasn't in humiliating Brooke. It was in quietly restoring the balance she had tried to disrupt. The evening had been a test, and she had failed. Not because I had tried to punish her, but because I had allowed her own behavior to reveal the truth. Observation, patience, and composure had been enough. After the dinner ended, as people filed out, Brooke approached me, her tone attempting civility. "Ryan, she began, but I interrupted gently, a calm smile on my face. "It's all right. I think the night spoke for itself." She nodded, realizing she had been outmaneuvered without confrontation, without drama, and with all dignity intact. She had tried to make me the fool, and instead, the joke had ended on her. Later at home, Claire and I reflected on the night. We laughed quietly about the irony, the tension, and the small signs I had picked up on that others might have missed. But the lesson remained clear. True composure and awareness often speak louder than words. And sometimes the best way to turn the tables is simply to watch and wait. People reveal themselves when they assume you're unaware. The entire evening reinforced a truth I had long believed. Confidence and calm observation are far more powerful than impulsive reactions or overt confrontations. By allowing Brooke's actions to expose her own intentions, I maintained control of the narrative without stooping to manipulation or petty revenge. It was a subtle victory, a reminder that respect and awareness cannot be forced. They must be earned, maintained, and protected with quiet intelligence. By the end of the night, the lesson was clear to everyone. Underestimate me, and you will reveal more than you intend. Attempt to make me the fool, and the outcome may just surprise you. Sometimes the most powerful response is simply patience, careful observation, and letting people's own behavior determine the truth. Brooke had tried to play a joke on me, but the truth, the real punchline, was always mine to deliver.